Smartphones track our heartbeats, satellites read license plates from orbit, and the entirety of human knowledge sits in our pockets. We have built an era of absolute data. By all logical measures, this flood of information should have washed away the old superstitions. Ancient ghost stories and campfire myths lack physical proof, making them unlikely survivors in a world governed by peer-reviewed facts. Yet major, highly resourced television networks are currently doing the opposite. Right alongside breaking political updates and market analysis, trusted journalistic outfits are actively dispatching reporters to investigate the supernatural. These same institutions designed to report objective facts are now systematically institutionalizing the modern ghost story, weaving local hauntings into the official news cycle. Major media outlets have carved out dedicated permanent verticals for these subjects. Established networks now operate fully staffed desks like News 18 Hindi Ghost Stories and the Z News Horror section. They apply the rigid framework of breaking journalism to local myths, offering latest updates on entities that have supposedly been dead for centuries. Raw local folklore enters a highly structured pipeline. A regional myth is gathered, processed through editorial curation, sorted by a news desk, and ultimately packaged as a polished digital asset. The paranormal has evolved past lore whispered between neighbors. It operates as a globally curated commodity, carefully designed to monetize our deep psychological hunger for the macabre. To see how this engine works on a local level, look at India's most famous haunted site, Bangar Fort. Physically, Bangar is entirely static. It is a massive, crumbling architectural ruin overtaken by overgrown vegetation and nestled quietly against the mountains. The historical lore surrounding its collapse involves ancient curses, bitter dark magic, and a population that abandoned the city overnight. Media platforms keep the narrative alive through a continuous refresh tactic. They publish modern tourist testimonies and dispatch paranormal investigation teams, layering present-day activity over these decaying stone walls. Through digital curation, a dead archaeological site is resurrected. It transforms from a fixed point in history into a perpetual content generator. Eventually, regional media ecosystems exhaust their local legends. When that happens, fear becomes borderless. Domestic networks start looking outward. Travel platforms like the India.com travel guide actively seek out foreign horrors and repackage them specifically for their domestic audiences. Take Italy's Poveglia Island. It sits physically severed from the rest of the world, surrounded by water with a looming bell tower marking its presence. Its actual history is remarkably grim. The island served as a quarantine station for bubonic plague victims, holding on to a genuinely dark and tragic past. In the information age, that geographic isolation means nothing. Fear bypasses physical borders entirely, proving itself as a universally exportable commodity that translates perfectly across any culture. This entire ecosystem functions because of a specific psychological utility it provides to the audience. Because these stories generate high engagement and revenue, media companies have a financial incentive to keep them alive. This commercial drive inadvertently turns news desks into modern archivists, preserving folklore that might otherwise be discarded in a purely scientific age. Comprehensive data mapping and instant communication leave few corners of the world unexamined. As the unknown physically shrinks, the perceived value of unexplained anomalies rises. These news sections maintain a digital boundary between raw facts and local myth. They provide a specific space where anomalies can exist without being immediately debunked or ignored by the mainstream information stream. As science explains nearly every aspect of our daily reality, humans actively rely on these platforms to ring-fence the few remaining anomalies that still defy explanation. Places like Bangar Fort and Poveglia Island serve a crucial purpose. They are curated reminders that the world still contains unmapped corners. The booming economy of paranormal news proves a simple truth. Humanity desperately wants the world to retain its mysteries. Think about the most famous unsolved mystery in your own region. Look closely at how the internet has altered, amplified, and packaged that specific legend. The digital monetization of the macabre represents the current phase of human myth-making, adapted for a digital economy.